We're talking about game one of the NBA Finals in 2008. My guest today, Eddie House. Eddie, I just want to get like a 30,000-foot view. What were you thinking going into the series? How confident were you and the team?
Well, growing up, you got to think, I was a Laker fan. My dad was a big Laker fan, Magic Johnson, Showtime. So to be in the finals, right, and have a Celtics uniform on and playing against the Lakers, that was the rivalry I grew up on watching. It was almost a dream come true, man. It wasn't almost, it was a dream come true to be able to play in the NBA Finals. Even though when I was a kid, I thought I'd have a Laker uniform on, but to have the Celtics uniform, which to me is, there's no uniform that can rival it. It's just a special place to play basketball, to play sports in general. You know, if you look at the Patriots, you look at the Red Sox, just the fans there are amazing. They are the best in the world. So it was a dream come true, to say the least.
Were you buying into the hype of, like, this is the most iconic rivalry we've in probably all of basketball? Were you like, yeah, now I'm a part of that story, or was it just about, man, we got to figure out a way to win? It doesn't matter if we're playing the Lakers or whoever.
That's what it was. It was just, hey, we just got to win. We got to win. It would be all for nothing. Everything we did, you know, from the start of training camp in Italy to the point to where we, you know, game sevens, two game sevens, you know, the opening against Atlanta, then game 7 against Cleveland. It would have been all for nothing if we didn't finish or complete our mission and our goals. So to me, that's what the mindset was. Now, looking back at it, I could definitely look at it and say, hey, man, I was a part of something special, man. Like, it's the biggest rivalry in basketball. And to do it the way we did, that comeback victory, that's historic. I mean, it's just, looking back on it is amazing. But when you in the moment, you're just trying to grind. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said when you're in the moment, you're just trying to grind and just trying to get that W.
Sure. And you can't forget the beatdown in Game 6 as well. One thing I want to bring up, hey, Paul Pierce goes down early on. And you know how this team was. We razzed each other all the time about stuff. Paul Pierce goes down, but he comes back and he plays unbelievable when he comes back. What were you thinking when he first went down?
I was hoping that he would come back, man, because Paul was the heart and soul. You know, KG was the leader, but Paul was the heart and soul of this team. You know, he had been with the Celtics from day one. He had went through getting the fans stayed with him through thick and thin, you know, through the ups, through the downs, through his personal, the situation, the unfortunate situation that happened to him. The fans still was behind him. So he was the heart and soul of our team. So it was almost like getting gut punched when he went down. Like, oh man, this can't be what it is, man. Now we didn't fought all the way here and our dude is going down. And I remember just watching the game and looking at my son, Jalen, who was right there, and he's like, his mouth is wide open, like, I can't believe it either. I feel like he was going through the same emotions that I was going through at the same time. But it was so uplifting to see him come out, though. You know, it was like, not only did the aura around the team change, though. When we seen him come out that tunnel, you seen like everybody kind of just raise their level of attention to detail. Their energy level went up. I mean, I got to ask you a question. What were you thinking? Because you were one of the guys that helped carry him out. What were you thinking?
I thought he'd come back. The story is not supposed to be Paul Pierce goes out in game 1 of the NBA Finals with an injury. It just, that story doesn't exist. I don't buy that. I buy that Paul Pierce goes back. I buy that Paul Pierce comes back because that's who he is. A guy no matter what, you can never count him out. So even though I'm over here carrying him to the back, there's nowhere in my mind I believe that he was down for the count. He's just too resilient for that.
What were they saying, though, when they were going back? What were they saying? Like, when you was hearing it, did it sound like to you that, man, this might be all bad, or is it like, man, he could get up and run this off maybe?
Paul was different. You know how he is. It doesn't matter what Dr. McKeon was saying, go get the wheelchair, all that stuff. That doesn't matter because it's Paul Pierce. And unless I don't think he tore an ACL because it didn't look like that on the play. And you could see, we all know when a dude yaks his ACL. Unless he did that, I feel like he was going to play. So I really wasn't that worried because I just believe in Paul Pierce, just the way it is. So it's game 4. So first of all, we've taken control over this series. It looks like this is the game where if this is a pivotal game, we win this game, we know we're winning a championship. What's the mindset for you going into this game?
Well, I hadn't played much going into it. And Kobe, Roman, we started understanding in game 3 how Kobe was going to play Rondo, how Kobe was playing Sam, and was giving us a little difficulty. My mindset was always, you sat right next to me. I'll just stay ready, man, and stay mentally prepared and in the game. Even though I wasn't in the game, in my mind, I was out there. I was playing. I was visualizing how I could help the team, where I could help the team. I seen where I would be able to get shots, and I just basically locked in on that and was chomping at the bit. And I mean, I went tonight in the finals every night going to bed, like praying, like, please let him get me in, man. Please let him get me in. I feel like I was born for these moments. And, I just couldn't wait, man. I was chomping at the bit. And when he did call me in and, we were down by so much, it was like, all right, well, let's go. This is what I wanted. Let's go.
Yeah, and you saw the lead get stretched, and you're right. Kobe did. His roaming really messed up our offense. We couldn't get to things that we wanted to do. Now, so you're watching that unfold, and you're one of the more confident shooters I've ever met in my entire life. And you're just thinking, all I got to do is get out there, and I know I'm going to get wide open shots, and if that happens, I'm going to knock them down?
Well, yeah, I know I'm going to get shots, but also what I understood is you can't roam off of me. They won't leave me. I mean, I think my whole career, pretty much my whole life, I've been able to stroke the basketball. So one thing that they're going to do is make sure that they don't give me any airspace or give me any open shots. So I knew that would change the dynamic, because what really Kobe was doing was causing problems for us getting the ball to KG. If we were running pin downs for Ray Allen, he was already sinking in. They were staying attached to KG. They weren't jumping out early to try to hedge that and trap Ray. So really, Kobe was being used as like the big man to hedge on everything and be right there for the help. And I understood that if I was out there, you could put me in the corner, put me anywhere. If Kobe was guarding me, he would not be able to help that way. And that would just open it up for everybody else, which I think it did.
When you're going into these games, are you thinking the mindset is just, listen, if I'm out here, you have to guard me, and therefore I am doing my job?
Yeah, exactly. That's everybody got a job to do. We know we've been role players. I was role player my whole career. I wasn't a guy that they were going to depend on to go out and get 30. That's Paul. That's KG. That's Ray. So we have to do our job, man. We bought into it when we went to Italy and before we went out there when Doc brought Ubuntu to us. I bought all the way in that, hey, man, I can't be the best that I could be unless I make my teammate the best they can be. And I understood that, and really that's what it's all about, man. It's all about being a superstar in your role. Whatever your role is, be the best you could be in it. And that's how I always attacked whenever I played throughout the league. I mean, I felt like, yeah, could I have more opportunities? Of course, everybody feels that. But that wasn't the situation. Whatever situation you in, you got to just take advantage of it and maximize it.
You saw the Celtics down 24, but momentum started to shift towards the half. I remember halftime we were pretty optimistic that we were heading in the right direction. What do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that too. The one thing we always believed, I think we were probably the most confident team that, I've ever been on. There was, you go from top to bottom. It didn't matter who you talked to. We believed it. We believed it when we went to Italy, man. I remember we were sitting in Paul's house one and we were playing cards. It was Pose, myself, Paul, and we were all just talking and we were like, man, there's no way a team's going to beat us in a 7-game series. It's just not going to happen. So we understood that then if we take care of our business and we stay healthy. So we always had confidence. That didn't waver. It was, like you said, Kobe wasn't dominating. So that was kind of a little worry there to like, okay, now if he turns it on, we're going to be in trouble. But he was doing it in another way. He was dominating defensively. And, that's what superstar players do. They find ways to make stuff happen. But we felt that if we chopped at this, and stay playing our game and don't get over excited about being down and try to get back in one possession. We understood it was going to take a multitude of possessions for us to get back. And I think once we went out there and we understood that, we believed. We came out that locker room like it was 0-0.
Yeah, and you think about this game, and Doc, throughout the whole entire game, down early, all he preached was defense. I think he felt like no matter what you do defensively, we have different guys. We can go with a lineup with you and Pose to stretch the floor out. We can go with a lineup of P.J. Brown and Perk if you want to go big. So I think his emphasis was always pressing on the defensive end. Just guard your guy, and we'll get back into this game.
Well, yeah, you're not going to get back into the game if you don't get stops. And, that's what he always preached. Let's get a stop. Let's get a stop. Let's get a stop. And it's one at a time. It's not, again, you're not going to win the game. You're not going to come back with one possession. It's going to take an effort here, another effort here, and another effort here. Like it's nonstop. The chain doesn't stop. You have to get a stop, then you got to go execute, then you got to do it all over again, and you got to keep repeating. And I think that's one of the things that was special about our team is that we were veterans, but we weren't at the tail end of our careers. You had guys that were right in their prime. You had guys that were coming into themselves, and then you had a couple very young players. But besides that, I thought we just had the perfect mix. And I don't think if we had the right type of guys on the team, with the strong mental, the strong mindset that we had, I think it would have been tough that game because it would have been easy to fall. I mean, yeah, it was the finals, but there was nothing going right for us for a long time in that game.
I told you guys, Celtics full control over this game after the third quarter, and it was too much. You had Eddie in one corner, James Posey in another, and Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett doing work. You ever been a part of a game with this type of magnitude with a comeback like this, Eddie?
No, never. And, not with this magnitude. We're in the finals and how big we were down, being down 24, you almost feel like it's over. And at that point, think about it. We were up 2-0. We come out, we lose game 3. If they win game 4 and they had game 5 on their home court, the series definitely could have flipped right in an instant. And I think we understood that as well. We understood that dynamic that we don't want to be going down. We don't want to be down 3-2 going to Boston, relying on having to win 2 games. We wanted to go to Boston just having to win 1 game. And that was really our mindset. And after the third quarter ended, when PJ dunked it and cut it to 2, you could sense us. I can remember that. I could sense it in the huddle and just the energy that we had and the focus that we had, like, we going to win this game. Let's just continue to get stops and play the way we did. And I think we didn't waver on that. Nobody stepped outside of their role of what they were going to do. Everybody did exactly what they needed to do and needed to do to help their teammate. And I think, again, it falls back on you got to give Danny credit, Doc credit for going out and getting the type of players that he did, knowing that they'll be able to mesh.
Yeah, a very underrated aspect. Let's take yourself out of the mix here. Getting a guy like Posey, a guy who's won a championship, getting a veteran halfway through the season like P.J. Brown. Do you feel like it is, if we don't have these guys, we may not win this championship?
No doubt. I'll be honest with you, Scal, is everybody. If we didn't have everybody that contributed, because you got to think Sam was big in the Detroit series. Everybody contributed in their own certain ways to get us to this point. And it was one of my opportunities in this situation, but it was always somebody different. You got to think in game 6 or game 2, I want to say Leon had a hell of a game in Boston. I mean, and you got everybody stepped up, and I think that's the most overlooked thing about team sports is sometimes the superstars get all of the credit, but really it's everybody. And, people that do the dirty work, everybody. Scal, come on, man. At the end of the day, man, it didn't matter if you was on the court or not. You was out there every day with us banging, practice, getting us prepared, you know what I'm saying, and sharpening our skills. So it doesn't matter. Everybody is super important. And that's the thing about team sports. The minute somebody thinks they're more important than the rest of the team, that's when the team falters.
Were you impressed at all, or what did you think of the Laker role players? Like outside of Kobe, Lamar, Gasol, the rest of those guys. Because those guys at the beginning of the game were dominating, and now those guys were really struggling to find anything, and they were almost like, Kobe, please win us this game.
Yeah, I think what happened was the pressure got big for them. They started feeling it. It's easy and comfortable. You remember Doc used to say Cleveland was a front-running team, right? If they get out in the league, they feel good. They're comfortable. It was kind of similar to the Lakers in that particular game. I won't say that was their characteristics all season, but in that particular game, they got up so big that they felt comfortable, kind of got fat a little bit and said, and started relaxing and taking their foot off the gas. And once we started putting that pressure on, I think they cracked. The role players cracked. Those guys weren't able to make shots. And you know how it is. You start missing shots, it's contagious. You know, everybody started missing shots. And, you know, Kobe misses shots he usually makes. And what ends up happening is we get more momentum and we continue to keep on pushing. And that was the thing about that game is that if we didn't take the lead, I'm not sure if we win that game.
Now, Eddie, all you talk about is role players. I think that man out there, number 50, was a superstar. Plus 26 in the second half, doesn't come out of the game in the fourth quarter. Like, did you feel fatigued at all?
No, not at all. I wasn't playing in the series that much, you know what I mean? And even in the playoffs, man, you got to remember, coming into the playoffs, I had got hurt at Washington, and it was like my groin. And I felt like I was playing really good basketball up to that point, and I'm rearing up, getting ready for the playoffs, and I go out. But what had happened, it gave Sam an opportunity to get rhythm. And so Doc just kind of stayed with that flow that we had. So I was playing spotty minutes in the playoffs. So no, I wasn't tired. I actually was waiting for this moment. I mean, talking about it right now, I'm getting goosebumps. You know what I mean? I was waiting for this moment, you know what I mean? And it couldn't have been a better time, a better moment for me to be prepared. Because I could have easily started pointing the finger and being like, man, he ain't playing me. I was in a rotation all year. Now here he go with these funny minutes. But I didn't do that. What I did was I said, man, with that energy that I had, I just went to the gym and kept shooting. And me and Darren would come rebound for me at night. I'd get up, try to get 200-300 shots, 300 makes in at night just to stay sharp, you know, just in case he does call my number. And lo and behold, look, I get my number called.
Now, you hit the shot that eventually puts the Celtics up for good. Now, as a kid, you must be dreaming about these moments. And when it comes to you, are you thinking, like, for sure I'm going to make this shot? Like I said, you're one of the more confident shooters I've ever played with. Yeah,
for sure. I knew it. And we had been running that 1-3 pick and roll. And I was going to slip it. I've been setting really good screens and getting Paul off because they had been switching. And he had been able to take advantage of it. So now I understood they were switching. So I went there and kind of gave a brush screen with a quick slip to the corner, and I knew I was going to make the shot. If I got a look, I was going to make the shot. I wasn't worried about missing it. And it was just, it was going up. I'm like, oh, this is a bucket. And as I shot it, I'm like, I missed it. And it went in ugly. It was one of my ugliest makes going, but it was my best make ever, but it was an ugly make, kind of rolled in a little funny. But I understood that when we made that shot and we went up, and you know this, you've been on teams to where we try to fight. We try to climb that mountain. And you might get up there, and if you're never able to get to the top and a little bit over, you fall short of that victory coming back. And I felt the importance of us going up and seeing ourselves ahead in that game. I knew we wouldn't look back.
What do you think of Paul Pierce and Garnett during this time, their leadership?
Oh, that's second. I'll tell you what, KG, best leader I ever was around, man. Second, when you talk about a guy who – has it all, right? You're talking about max contracts, all the ability, all the talent, all the all-star, all the accolades, but the hardest working guy on the team. You know, you've seen him in the weight room. You've seen him before practice and after practice putting in that work. He puts a level of accountability on yourself. When you walk in and you see the best of the best doing that, you have to hold yourself accountable to a higher standard. And I think that's what he did to each and every one of us on the team. We learned a different level of work ethic and a different level of how to prepare to be where we were at.